I'm one of those rare women, maybe the only one, I don't know, who actually enjoys the presence of teenagers, and specifically middle schoolers. But I didn't know that until I had some middle schoolers that I was working with, because I always saw the teens walking around downtown with their sweatshirts over their heads, and I just said, oh, I can't, that's scary to me, I don't want to deal with that. But when I became the youth director of this fledgling new church, they didn't have a structure, they didn't know what they were doing, and they never had a youth program before, so I was creating it. And so I took on these kids, because my daughter was that age, and I really enjoyed her and her friends. So I took on this project of talking to these young people. And one day it occurred to me, there was all the parents and all the adults in this group were trying to control these kids and trying to discipline them. And I was not of the mind that controlling these kids was going to be something I could do, or that it would be very effective if I tried. So one day I asked them, I said, basically I was going to ask them, how can I control you? So I said, what motivates you? Are you more afraid of being punished, or are you more afraid of disappointing your parents? What was interesting is that the kids who had very controlling parents were afraid of being punished, and the kids who had very free-flowing, open parents were afraid of disappointing their parents. So I thought about that for a while, and I thought, well, how can I implement that in my program? Because we still were having trouble with these kids who had minds of their own. And so one day I came into the group and I said, okay, we're going to list everything you do in your life. So I want you to list everything from brushing your teeth to going to bed at night to schoolwork to sports to family dinner to reading the Bible, praying, doing grace, all of the things that a kid would have to do in their life. Family vacations even, like anything. So they listed everything out. And then what I did is I had them take this list and I had them plug them into this chart that I made. And this very complex chart had 3 columns. The first column was obedience. So to me, obedience is things that somebody is making you do. And that would be things that you don't really want to do, that you wouldn't even choose to do, but somebody's making you do them, either through punishment or coercion or graduation from high school. Just things that you don't have really much say about. The second column was responsibility. And in responsibility, that was the stuff that you kind of internally felt like you should do. So they were external motivations that you internally wanted. So you kind of had these goals of being a good person, things that you should do. You want to strive for something inside yourself that's not something you naturally kind of are drawn to. The last column is freedom. And freedom is anything that you do that you would do no matter what anybody said. So freedom, who can tell me something that they do for freedom? Like, just say something. Yes?
You don't have to think about it, you just do it.
Yes. So, going for a hike in the woods. Okay, so I'm going to give an example of how this played out in my life. When I was a kid, there was a chore chart, and on that chore chart, loading the dishwasher was one of the things that had to be done. So when it was my turn to do the dishes, I had to do them. I was obedient, I did the dishes, I put the dishes in the dishwasher. That was something I had to do. In my 20s, I thought, well, I'm going to be a grown-up. And grown-ups don't have dirty dishes all over the kitchen. So I'm going to load my dishwasher because that's what grown-ups do. Now that I paid a ton of money to have my kitchen remodeled and I have this gorgeous kitchen, I'm in there all day long putting dishes in the dishwasher because I want to see this beautiful kitchen. So I'm at the point where I've gone from obedience to responsibility to freedom. I freely load that dishwasher. So when I'm working with these kids and they're starting to become adults and they're starting to think about how they're going to go through life, we don't want our kids so heavily in freedom that they're not obedient, they don't learn these responsibilities, there's things that you need to do. You want to manage yourself over here. We want to help them. But as they grow, we really want to move them over into this space. So at the end of the day, they've spent most of their day doing what they're passionate about, what they love, what makes them feel great. We want to teach them how to somehow move that dreary drudgery of life into the joys of life. Somehow they need to find it in themselves. How to be happy, how to love what they're doing. So that's what I would say if you have little kids, start working them towards how are you going to learn to love this? What is the motivation behind this that is your motivation behind this? So anyway, I would urge all of you to make that list and see where you fall and see if most of your day is spent on things that you don't want to do and how much of your day is spent on doing what you love to do.